Yo, what is up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, man. And I'm going to be representing my squad as always in every video that I do. Today we've got some spice for you guys, and I mean, it is fire, bro. So we're going to be showcasing pure Volcanics, because I just feel like the deck doesn't really get enough love. You know, it's not really running around anywhere at all. And you guys know how I do. If you guys don't know this about my channel cares more about rogue decks than we do about meta. What we want to do is shine some light on the potential of some of the decks that people think are bad, but actually aren't bad. It's just they're unexploited. A lot of people haven't considered their potential, nor have they even tried it out. So, you know, you can't really say a deck's bad until you played it before. But we're going to go ahead and hop into the build. It is non-conventional, and it is extremely budget friendly. I mean, like, this deck is so budget friendly, it can't get any more budget. I've purposely chose to play some unorthodox card choices to kind of show you guys my own unique way of playing the deck. And so when you see certain cards in the deck and you question, why isn't that card this? Why aren't you playing this? Shouldn't that be this? Understand that I've catered this deck to do one thing specifically and one thing really good, which is what it's already good at. I want it to be extremely aggressive. I want it to have control over the board and to be able to apply pressure consistently, gradually, while maintaining its draw engine. It's pretty much nuke, poke, burn. That's all it's going to do. So again, if you see some non-conventional card choices, understand not only is it my spice, but it goes in correlation to what this deck already does extremely well. So starting off with monsters, we have triple Volcanic Rocket. He basically is one of your best starter cards. He can add your Blaze Accelerator from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, which is really cool that he can actually add it from grave, because you will get to that point where you're running out of accelerators. It's just a really good, powerful starter card. It's 19 meter, and it's when he's normal or flipped or special summoned. So it's pretty much just when he's summoned, which is really cool. So you can actually get a plus off of your Ties of the Brethren play, which Ties is really good in this deck. And then next up, I played 3 Royal Firestorm Guards. The card's amazing in this deck because it allows you to recycle your scatter shots, so you can do it all over again. Rinse, wash, and repeat. You're going to be consistently board wiping your opponent, not just with the Volcanics, but all the cards that I play in the deck. And what's really cool is I play some really old school techs as well. Kind of just like, I'm talking about like first gen Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because I wanted some euphoria for the deck as well. So again, like, you could do all kinds of different builds, but the way I'm playing the deck is actually how I want it to be. We have the 3 Royal Firestorm Guards. He's essentially a +2. He's going to recycle 4 of your pyro types. He even recycles itself, so you could play 2, but you definitely want to maximize on this card. Not for the grind games, but for your Tides of the Brethren targets, because you can actually just use the first one or the second one and just kind of keep it at 2 if you want to. But it's an incredible card, and it has decent statistics as well. And then we have 2 Barrier Statue of the Inferno. I find that 2 is just perfect. I am not actually playing Desires in this list, so you don't have to worry about banishing him. You play 2 just in case you need to resolve the second Ties of the Brethren to have him as a target. And then also, you know, like, it'll come up eventually. If your opponent outs 1, you'll need to have the second one at times. Being able to lock your opponent out to only summon fires, that's pretty much either you're playing Infernoids or you're not doing anything at all, because there really are no other fire decks. Like period, meta relevant, even rogue. Like, there's no popular rogue fire decks right now. Like, I mean, like, Fire Kings could be one, or Infernoids. Like, there's so very little like fire archetypes just in general. I really think Konami should do something about that. Like, make some fire-based archetypes. But this is probably the best Barrier Statue of the meta. The Earth one, ooh, Gokis. The Water one, ooh, Paleos and Mermails. The Light one, oh, Trickstars, you know, Mech Knights Invoked. The Dark one, oh snap, Burning Abyss, Danger, Dark Worlds, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even the Wind one, I think the Wind one and the Fire ones are probably like the best ones to play right now, because there's so few decks that have those attributes. But even the Wind one, like, it's easier to play around than the Fire one. So we only play 2 of him. That's all you need. We also play triple Scattershot. Scattershot is probably, next to Volcanic Rocket, the next most important Volcanic in your deck. Its ability is best used when you're sitting it off of the Blaze Accelerator, because you not only get the increments of burn damage from it, but it is a board wipe during your opponent's turn. And being able to destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 1,500 damage to them, and being able to recycle it and do it endlessly, I could never complain about that. That alone is the beneficial accoutrement of the Volcanic archetype. Nuke boards, destroy all boards, poke for damage, and draw. Just nuke, poke, draw, rinse, wash, recycle, and repeat. We have 3 shells. Shell is not so important, but you do need volcanic names. That is the important thing. Like, there's not very many good volcanics, and you kind of got to play the best of the best. Shell is pretty consistent in the fact that it enables you to continue to have targets for your Blaze Accelerator so that you don't burn out of names. And you can always put your shells back and just keep doing it over and over and over. But you don't play 3 because, like, it's so good, because it's not all that. It's kind of semi-decent. But you play it because it contributes to your name count and that it can replace itself and enable you to continue to dig through your deck for your better combo pieces. And then I personally play the Doomfire. Like I told you guys, I play some old school cards. It's really for the Euphoria, but Doomfire is actually broken. You just send a Tri-Blaze Accelerator that you control to the grave to summon him. If he destroys a monster by battle, he gets to destroy all monsters your opponent controls. He is a 3k beater, so it's not like it's impossible for him to kill a monster by battle. He destroys all monsters your opponent controls and inflicts 500 for each. I think he has some other thing going on for his effect. Oh yeah, during your opponent's battle phase, your opponent must attack this monster with any attack position monsters they control. So because a lot of people overlook this card and don't understand what it does, a lot of people will misinterpret and try to attack into another monster, not even understanding how his effect works. The attack will immediately have to go to him because they have declared an attack now and they didn't acknowledge that. And if their monster doesn't have 3,000, they've just lost their entire field and they're going to get burned for 500 times 4, that's what, 2,000, possibly 3,000 damage. So Doomfire is a game changer. I feel like if you're not playing it, it's like, come on now, bro. Sacrifice that 1 slot in your deck. He's an amazing card. He does increase your ceiling. He's a free summon. You're always going to have your Blaze Accelerator. It's too easy to get the card out. Way too easy for you to not play at least 1. I find that 1 is perfect because other than that, it will conflict. I only play Fire and I only play Pyros. I actually was going to play Time Wizard in this build. I wanted to play triple Time Wizard, but I was like, they're not ready for that. And then at the same time, it conflicts with my Floodgates. So I was just like, I'm only playing Pyros and only Fires. That's it. So that concludes the monster lineup. No Ash Blossoms or anything like that. I have every good card in, like, under the sun. I can do triple evenly, triple permanents, triple strike, triple forbidden. Like, I can do everything, you know, and I can do triple Ash, Dro. I can play all the good meta staples, all the expensive cards. But like I told you guys in the beginning of the video, it's a budget-friendly deck that is still extremely, extremely capable of competing with every deck out right now. And when we get to the spells and traps, you'll understand, because the monsters already show you I guess a percentage, like a small percentage of what the deck's capable of doing, but its backbone is in its spells and traps, honestly. So starting with spells, we play triple Foolish Barrel Goods. Foolish Barrel Goods is the goods in this deck. You're going to be sending your Blaze Accelerator, and what you basically having this, it's almost like having a Raigeki. That's what Foolish Barrel Goods really is. It's a Raigeki. Because you're going to be dumping your Blaze Accelerator reload, and you're going to be nuking your opponent's board during their turn. So this is 3 copies of Raigeki. Literally, there is no exaggeration. It actually is 3 copies of Raigeki. Then we have triple Ties of the Brethren, the best starter spell. Foolish Barrel Goods is kind of semi-good going first, but it's a lot better going second, because you literally just wipe whole boards. Like, this deck doesn't care about the dice roll at all. And it's because of how I built it. I built it to be so aggressive. I mean, like, I can't think of a build that I have right now on any of my decks that have this much board wipes, board protection, spot removal, aggressive plays to make. I mean, like, I'm going to add up at the end of the video how many board wipes we actually play. And then my other spicy tech is 3 Lightning Vortex. I like Lightning Vortex because of its discard ability. A lot of people forgot about this card, too. I'm actually side decking 3 of this, and 1 Dark Hole, and 1 Raigeki, and 1 Kaiju Slumber for new format. For new format, I want to have 6 board wipes because I'm going to go back to Herald of Perfection. And the Herald only cares about going first. For when you're going second, you just have to have all the side deck hate. So I don't understand why people forgot about Lightning Vortex, because it's really good. And I've never actually seen it in competitive play, so I feel like after watching this video, a lot of people are going to be like, oh snap, maybe I should pick up 3 Lightning Vortex, because it's a Raigeki that discards. So for you danger players, this is great to discard your dangers for cost, because they never miss timing and they don't care if they're being discarded by anything as long as they're discarded. It's really good for Burning Abyss, which, you know, it's good in general, and some decks need certain cards in the grave, and this discards any card. That's why it's really good in this deck, because you could discard your Shell, you can discard your Scatter Shot, you could discard your Reload. There's so many good targets for it. It's never really a bad thing, and it increases your ceiling for going second. So you have your Foolish Barrel Goods and your Lightning Vortex that do the same thing. They destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And then for more spice, I mean, bro, come on now. Like, this is the goo right here. We're playing 2 offerings to the Doom. Like I said, there are going to be some controversial cards that I play in this deck. Some people might not like them. That's okay. I'm not playing the deck for you guys. I'm playing it for me. I'm playing it because I love it. So if there are cards that you see that you don't like, understand that it's just this is how I want to play my deck. You can't get mad at me for playing my cards the way I want to play them. You feel me? So I like offerings to the Doom because it complements one of my traps really well. I like that it's basically a trap, and it does help you going second. It's good going first or second, but going first, it's such an incredible bait and trap. And the drawback or downside to it doesn't matter. You skip your draw phase, but you already draw so much with this deck. This deck has so much draw power. It's crazy. You don't even need to play the Demise variant. And the Demise variant is kind of trash because Tides of the Brethren is a lot more powerful as a starter than Demise is in this deck. It's crazy the way it sounds, but it's true. If you play Volcanics, you understand that Ties is way more powerful than Demise. Like, you start up multiple engines at once, you get your Blaze Accelerator online, and you're potentially floodgating your opponent out of the duel. So the offerings is incredible. I'm considering playing 3 of it because it's that good. So the spicy techs are the Lightning Vortex, the offerings, the Doomfire. We were gonna like nut up with 3 Time Wizards, but I was just like, you know what? I really don't want to get, like, I didn't want people to hate on me super tough when I made this video, because I already know, like, once I post this, people see the video in the comments, they're probably gonna be like, oh, you could be playing this. Oh, you should be playing this. Bro, I know every good card under the sun. I can play this deck so many different ways. I can play competitively. I can play legitimate, awesome staples. But I wanted to play some old school staples, not only for the Euphoria, but remember, like I said, they complement the deck's play style. This deck is aggressive, and all it cares about is nuking the board, poking for damage, and drawing cards. That's the 3 things that Volcanic do very well. So I wanted to complement, more importantly, the ability to nuke boards. So you already have your spot removal with your Scatter Shot, that's a Raigeki. You got Foolish Barrel Goods, that's a Raigeki. You've got Lightning Vortex, which is a Raigeki. And because it's budget, we're not playing Raigeki because that's a little too expensive. If I wanted to go a different route and play non-budget Volcanics, heck yeah, I play Raigeki in here. And I feel like we don't really need the Dark Hole because it can hurt me more than it hurts my opponent. Because I do, like, keeping my board established is extremely relevant. Like, you actually need to keep, because you have such a little monster count and your monsters don't protect themselves. So it's really important to maximize on them and keep them on the field as long as you possibly can. So I felt like Dark Hole was a little counterintuitive. But if you want to be greedy, play the Dark Hole in the Raigeki. But remember, this is budget friendly because a lot of people want to see budget builds on my decks. Normally when I post deck profiles, like, they're super, you know, high-end cards, and a lot of people just can't play them. So this is a way to play Volcanics with an incredible, you know, with an incredibly cheap engine. Really, like, the whole deck is cheap, and then all the staples are pretty cheap, and it's still super aggressive. It really is. So for our traps, we play 3 Blaze Accelerator reloads. This is the only accelerator that you need. Trust me, you don't need to play the spell ones. The spell ones, you don't need them. The spell ones do exactly what this card does, but this card's a lot better. And you also get to make space in your deck for other cards instead of wasting slots for more accelerators when this is all that you need. You have 6 other ways to get into this card. Like, it just, you don't need it. You can play Magical Planner as well because this is a great way to, you know, this is a great target for Magical Planner. But I felt like I don't really need the Magical Planner as much because a lot of the times I have ways to get this in the grave without it. But if you want to play Magical Planner, it's a great way to get this to the graveyard to draw. And that's old school right there. The way people used to play Volcanics was, you know, 2 to 3 Magical Planners. I feel like if I own some Magical Planners, I'd probably play 2, but I don't have any at all. But I definitely would probably play 2 because this card's so insane with Magical Planner. You get to draw off of its effects, send it to the grave, draw 2 more fresh cards, and then you get to destroy the field. So you get like a +4 off of that. But 3 Blaze Accelerator Reload, insane card, giving you all the draw power that you need. And then we play Triple Mistake. I play a lot of Floodgates. That's why I was like, you know what, Magical Planner is pretty good in this deck. Triple Mistake, because you actually, minus your Rocket, you don't really do any searching at all. Shell is, like, not even relevant. You don't really need Shell. So, like, when you flip a Mistake, understand that it hurts your opponent so much more than it hurts you. It's like, oh my god, I can't Shell anymore. Like, that doesn't hurt at all. And, you know, oh, I can't myself a Rocket. But it's like you're able to add from your graveyard because The mistake says neither player can add cards from their deck to the hand except by drawing them. But once you have at least one accelerated reload in your grave, you can just keep adding it back off your rocket. So it's just like, mistake makes dumb sense. Why would you not play mistake in a volcanic deck when the only way you're adding cards is by drawing them? So that drawback doesn't hurt you, but it kills Gokis, it kills Trickstars, it kills Sky Strikers, it kills meta, bro. And we still play 3 goals a match in addition to that. And I personally only own 2 Rivalry of the Warlords. Otherwise, I'd be playing 3 goals into 3 rivalries. That's why, remember, back when I mentioned the monsters, I only play fires and I only play pyros. That's extremely important because neither of these floodgates will ever hurt me. I only control fires, and the only type of monster I have are pyros. That's why I barely go into the extra deck. And in fact, the extra deck is kind of just there. Like, I never really go into the extra deck with this deck. You get everything done with your main deck, which is really cool. So you don't really have to worry about needing your extra deck, but it's there, you know, whenever you want to go into it. And then for our other spicy tech, I play 2 Loop of Destruction. Bro, they're not ready for this. All right, so I'm going to read this card because a lot of people don't understand how it works. I haven't really seen it being used in any decks. I felt like this deck complements this trap so well that I was just like, why would you not play Loop of Destruction in Volcanics? So it's Ring of Destruction always. Once per turn, if a monster on the field is destroyed by a card effect, it's yours or your opponent's. It doesn't matter. By a card effect. If a monster on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you could target one monster on the field and destroy it. And if you do, each player takes 500 damage. So it does 2 of the 3 things. It destroys cards and it enables you to burn your opponent. Nuke, poke, burn. Nuke, poke, burn. This is like one of the most aggressive decks to play in terms of intermatch procedures. And if you're playing against fragile decks that like Gokis, like if you're able to board wipe them, then you know it's really hard for them to come back. All you really need to do is just deal with the Cerberus. If you could just deal with the Cerberus, you can nuke their entire board. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And the funny thing too is Cerberus says only once. They cannot be destroyed once. I can pick up the Cerberus and read it. It says once. You can it says you can only blah 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 blah. Once per turn, co-link monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Do you know how many times I can nuke the board? I can just Lightning Vortex. All right, they're not destroyed. I can bait out Trigate so easily. Lightning Vortex, bam, they're not destroyed. All right, Foolish Burial Goods, dump my Blaze Accelerator, scatter shot everything, take 1500. Your board's done for. It's just too easy. And Loop of Destruction is really incredible. That's why I play especially why I love playing the offerings, because it effectively allows you to hit 2 cards and get that tad bit of burn damage, and it allows you to stop combos midway. Like if your opponent's comboing off, you normally 1 offerings and 1 loop is more than enough, because you got to think of it like it's like Dryden. Zodiac Dryden was so good because she was able to get that 1 pop that you needed to interrupt combos. And like you have ways to hit any card on the field, but I like these because they hit monsters. Monsters are so prevalent right now. Like it's mostly monsters, and when the ban list comes, we're not going to be running around with Trickstar Sky Strikers anymore. It's going to be more monster heavy decks again. So I find that Loop and offerings are really good, and I like Loop because of its floodgate-esque effect and the fact that it has such longevity and just being able to continue to control the board. It's really good. And I still play the 2 Torrential Tributes, even though you do have like board wipes. You have board wipes pretty much unlocked. You got to think of it. You have the 3 Blaze Accelerators, the 3 Gozens, the Rivalries, you've got the Torrentials, you got the Lightning Vortexes, you got the Foolish Barrel Goods, you got the Scatter Shots. I mean, come on now, bro. That's a lot. Like, and that, remember when I told you like I play certain cards to complement what this deck does? This deck has board wipes on lock. I mean, like, if it can be destroyed, it can be dealt with. So I just felt that 2 Torrential was good enough. I didn't want to maximize on it because remember what I told you, I care about keeping my monsters on the field. But if I absolutely have to, I will flip the Torrential. And then my final spicy techs are some traps that I don't really see being played. I play 2 Bad Aims. This is my favorite jank format staple. When we were doing Jank Day, before my team got lazy with it, when we were doing Jank Day, Bad Aim was an absolute staple in all of our decks. People never played this card, and we were like, look, yo, this allows you to destroy any problematic card besides what it. So what it does is it says when your opponent activates a card or effect, destroy 1 card besides that card that activated on the field. So let's say, for example, your opponent activates a Draconic Diagrams effect. You can chain Bad Aim and destroy any other card besides the diagram. If your opponent activates, I don't know, like Light Stage, for example. On activation, you can flip Bad Aim and destroy any of their other cards. Like, am I catching? Are you catching what I'm saying? It allows you to destroy any card. And what I really liked about it was the fact that it destroys anything that's not a monster. So I pretty much had board wipes on the lock, but I had no real way of dealing with back row, other than going into like Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, because it's still a fire. So like, it doesn't conflict with the bear statue. And then I also played 2 Ballista squads. Same thing as Bad Aim, but you get to pretty much guarantee the target that you want. Whereas Bad Aim, sometimes the card that's activating its effect is like the one you want to destroy. But at the same time, if it's a monster, you can kill it anyways. But if it's like a continuous spell or trap, you deal with it with Ballista Squad. Ballista Squad allows you to tribute 1 monster and target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. This is really good in Lair of Darkness, because you could tribute your opponent's monster and, you know, just pop their card. So I like these. They seem to be 1-for-1 exchanges, but in cohesion with all of your back row, because you play like a lot of back row. I mean, look at all this back row. And all of your back row literally does what? It controls the board. It destroys card. But in cohesion, these are not 1-for-1 exchanges. They allow you to shut turns down effectively. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you go first or second. It really doesn't. Like, you think of all these traps, all of them do the same exact thing. That's what I told you in the beginning of the video. I want to do one thing really, really well, and that's what this deck does. Board wipes. You've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, the 15, you know, the 18. You've got the 20, the 23, the 26, the scatter shots. That's what, 29. Then the rockets count, because rocket gets you to reload. Like, you have board wipes on lock. And the Loop of Destruction, again, even these cards complement the Loop of Destruction, because you can use these to pop one of your opponent's monsters and use Loop of Destruction to clear another one. So it's like, there's really no way that your opponent will be able to get around it unless they have a monster that absolutely cannot be destroyed by card effects. But at the same time, that's why the goals and match and the rivalries and the mistakes are there, because these cards effectively prevent your opponent from ever getting to that point. And normally you could flip this when they have an established board, and you can get rid of those monsters that can be destroyed by card effects. So virtually this deck can get over anything as long as it's not unaffected by card effects. All right. And now the extra deck, which is really, it's like, I think Doolittle is sometimes. I play 2 because it definitely is sometimes. And you normally use the first one to add back one of your rockets for the grinds. And then the second one is there because you don't recycle the first one with itself. You use the second one to recycle the first one. Or you just use both of them to add back rockets. The best way is to add back rockets. If you're playing Ash Blossom, add your Ash Blossom back. But remember, this deck is super duper duper budget friendly. I mean, it's like a $20 deck or less. Probably less. Underclock Taker for the OTKs. The funny thing is, you're never really able to resolve Underclock Taker because there's normally never monsters for you to target. But in the instance, if you're going second and you don't have a board wipe, you can underclock. You'll be able to underclock and get some damage. And that's what Doomfire really helps with, having that additional summon, because you don't really do a lot of spamming with this deck, but being able to underclock target Doomfire, make it lose 3,000, then when Doomfire kills it by battle, blow up their whole field, that's really good. I personally doubled up on the Phoenix. I found that this is the most gone into extra deck card for me personally. And it is a fire, so like even if I have my Barrier statue of the Pyro Barrier statue, like I can still go into it because it is fire. And then also back row is kind of the only thing that this deck doesn't have on lock. I could play Twin Twisters, but Twin Twisters is like a $9, $10 card. That's not budget. But if you guys do want to see a Volcanic deck profile that's not budget friendly, oh boy, I could put my foot into it if I wanted to. But I wanted to play some old school, kind of older, different cards that people think are whack and kind of showcase how they can be really good just when paired in the right deck. I do also play the Cerberus, the Akashic Magician, because it's too easy to make this card. I do play the Goblin because there's times when you can underclock and Goblin and then get an extra summon off of your Royal Firestorm guards because he's not a once per turn, or you can get an extra summon, a search off of your Rocket. And then we do have the Abyss Dweller, the Samurai, and the Baguska. The other stuff, it just doesn't even matter. The extra deck's not even complete because I don't even go into the extra deck. I don't make these. I make this. This is here because I can make it, but I don't make it. I don't make this because everything else does that. I really just, the co-link effect is what matters the most. I do make these, definitely make these, but everything else I just don't make. And like, you don't need the extra deck. You don't. I mean, like, this is probably the most gone into card. And it's a 19 beater and it's fire. It's perfect. But yeah, you guys, that concludes my Volcanic deck profile. Definitely let me know your honest opinion and feedback on what you think the deck, needs or is missing. Well, remember, this is budget friendly. It's different. It's really, really spicy. And there's a lot of cards that I could be playing that I'm not playing, like strikes and permanences. You can do Invinleys, you can do Ash Blossoms, you can do Drolls. Shoot, I mean, I wanted to play Forbidden Chalices, but I can't find my Forbidden Chalices. I found the Chalice was really good. I wanted to play Third Offerings. And if you're playing Magical Musketeers, I think that Offerings and Bad Aim and Ballista Squad are like really good cards. And I also think that Rivalry and Goals and Match are extremely relevant for Magical Musketeers. Even though they lock out the column, it's like when you play a card, a Floodgate, you have to think of it this way. Does it hurt my opponent more than it hurts me? If the answer is yes, then play it. If it hurts you more than it can hurt your opponent, then don't play it. That's why Pendulums never side deck anti-spell, because at the offset chance that they clear your skills, you can never play them again. Does that make sense? But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Thank you so much. Y'all have a beautiful day. Be safe. Don't hurt your brain cells. Don't do drugs. And Carthage must be destroyed. Peace out, y'all.